There are a lot of trends in Magic today, but my favorite is the organic trend. So today I'm going to show you guys a trick that's organic, that you could do really anytime, anywhere, with things around you that are easily found. Hopefully this is a trick that you'll be able to do and adapt to your own surroundings. But apart from that, let's just get into this. You're going to need a deck of cards. So for this one, of course, the deck could be shuffled and mixed by you, not them. That would ruin the trick entirely. So you shuffle the deck. Really show that bitch who's boss. Show that bitch your wage gap. Yeah. So you have them select any card. Ask them, did you want to change their mind? Of course, they always do. Motherfuckers. So you have them select another card. In this case, this card happens to be the 4 of diamonds. We'll go with this one for the rest of the trick. So this card could be lost and shuffled very deeply into the deck. So deeply, in fact, that the card itself starts to wonder if it will ever be found again. You shuffle that deck so hard that it will never talk back to you ever again. And then afterwards, you make a simple proposition to the spectator. You tell them that you're going to cut right to their card. So all you're going to do is cut right to their card. And if you lose, they can keep your chimichanga chicken and cheese burrito. Who the fuck doesn't want a chicken and cheese burrito? So of course they're going to take you up on the offer. At that point, you pick up the deck, maybe give it a little pre-cut, if you know what I mean. And then you cut the deck and show that you managed to cut to the king of diamonds, which is not their card. But you say, wait a minute, maybe I was close. Let's see if I was close. So you turn over the next couple cards to see if maybe their card happens to be in that bunch. So you show them one at a time. Jack of clubs, 5 of spades, 4 of diamonds, 2 of diamonds, king of diamonds. And they tell you that they did in fact see their card there, which is fucking great because now you can carry on with the rest of the trick. So you're going to say that you're going to find their card without the deck. All you need are the 5 cards, including their card. So you make sure to show that there's only 5 cards, and then you aggressively throw the cards at the burrito. You explain that that aggressive toss is enough to magically make their card disappear. But where could their card have gone? It's not stuck behind any of the cards. They aren't special cards. They're not stuck to each other. So the only place is inside of the burrito. There's a card in the fucking burrito. You show them there's a card in the fucking burrito. So you manage to take the card out of the burrito and show them that it is in fact the card that they selected earlier, the 4 of diamonds. Of course, they lose their shit. They can keep the burrito. And not only do they offer you a blowjob at this point, but they thank you for showing them an organic magic trick. For this trick, you're going to need a duplicate, a deck, and a burrito. The burrito size and the width is really up to your ethnicity. Me, I like to use this chicken and cheese burrito. If you see right here close up, it says pollo y queso, which I think is some sort of European language for rice and chicken or whatever. I don't know fucking European, so whatever. Let's just wipe the cocaine from the desk and we can actually start. First thing you need to do is put the 4 that is not bent as fuck on the bottom of the deck. You'll be forcing this card later. That deck goes inside of the card. God fucking go inside, son of a bitch. Goes inside the card box, and then the other 4 goes inside of the burrito packaging. So in this case, I just fold it up and I put it in there. I make sure that I have some sort of sealant for the edge. It could be Loctite. It could be any sort of tape that you have laying around your house. It could be any sort of adhesive that you have. But what you need to do at this point is tear up a small slit in the top of the packaging for the burrito, and you're gonna get some tape and seal this little opening shut. If I don't have tape, in a pinch you could use maybe some sort of semen. That usually works. But the first thing you need to do is force the bottom card, and if you remember from our sneaky setup, that bottom card is the same card that's inside of the chimichanga burrito. So this card, you could do some sort of false cuts if you like, but ultimately end up with a break right below that card in preparation for any sort of force. In this case, I'm going to do a spread force. So you spread any card to be picked. That card is going to be outjogged from the deck at the same time that you're still holding the break below the 4 of diamonds. So that card up there is an indifferent card that they touched. So what's going to happen is that you're going to square this card in at the same time that you revolve your hand and show that force card. So they pick any card. As the card is being pushed in the deck, you're going to revolve your hand and show the 4 of diamonds instead of the original card. So that card gets squeezed into the deck at the same time that you lift up at the break and show the force card, which in this case is the 4 of diamonds. Of course, you're doing this towards them, so it's a little bit more discreet. You square it up and show them the force card, and then you need to get this card and make sure that you maintain a break, because this card needs to be controlled to the top of the deck. This trick is the perfect opportunity to try a force that I show in a different video, where a card is selected and forced at the same time that it is controlled to the top. If you haven't seen that video to control it to the top, make sure that you click on that little stuff right there and you'll get to that video. I'll suck your dick. But all you pretty much need is the card to be forced and controlled right to the top. After that card's controlled, you're going to need to put 2 extra cards on top of that card, which will set you up for the rest of the trick. So I do this by just sliding off 2 during an overhand shuffle as I shuffle the cards off. That is one way to do it. There's also a couple other different ways that I like to do it. Maybe as I'm shuffling the cards in a rough fashion, I'll drop a couple cards on the table, maybe drop a couple cards in their lap, get a little peek, get a little feel, if you know what I mean. And then when I collect these cards, I put these cards right back on top, and that puts me in the position that I need to be. At this point, you can make a wager with the spectator. You tell them that you'll be able to cut right to their card. If not, they can have your chimichanga burrito. At this point, maybe you could describe the burrito to them, entice them a little bit further, get them to take up the bet of you cutting to their cards. On the offbeat, you cut their card right to the middle, maintaining a break. And then your official cut, obviously you cut right to the break and show them the indifferent card. In this case, it's going to be the Queen of Clubs. And they're going to tell you that's not their card. So you tell them, first of all, f you. Second of all, maybe I was close to the card. So then at this point, you spread through maybe 5 cards. And their card is going to end up in the middle of that pile. So in order to make that card disappear, you're going to do a move known as the biddle steal. So the cards are going to be transferred over to your right hand, as the cards are going to be peeled onto the left hand one at a time. So the first one goes normal, the second one goes normal, the third one, that's their card, which is inside of the burrito. Remember, that card is going to be slid off into the pile on the left hand with a pinky break right below it. Now what's going to happen is that at the same time that this card is being thumbed off, that 4 diamonds is going to be stolen underneath that whole pile. So let's go over this again for the Argentinians that are watching. So one more time, you're going to thumb off one card, thumb off another card. This card has a break below it. Now you're going to put the whole pile on top of the 4 of diamonds at the same time that you're peeling off the top card, which is the 3 of clubs. So what this does is that it steals the 4 of diamonds in the back of the pile. At the end of the biddle steal, you end up with the 4 of diamonds in the back of this pile, which gets put on the deck. They think you have 5 cards, including the 4 of diamonds in this, but you actually only have 4 cards. So at this point, you need to get rid of the deck, which has the dirty card inside of it, the 4 of diamonds. So you just put the deck away. Remember that it's going to be a little bit dirty later on, so you need to fix that if you're going to do another trick. But you put the deck away. You don't need that shit. F that deck. All you need are these cards. So you're going to need to show these 4 cards as 5 cards. And the way we do this is the same way. So you peel 1 card, you peel a second card, and you have a break. Then you steal that card as you count the rest as 5. So one more time, you peel 1, peel another, keep a break. Steal this card as you peel the second card, then the third and the fifth. And they assume that you have 5 cards when in reality you have 4. At this point, you're ready for the climax, or the orgasm, if you would, of the trick. You grab the cards and you throw them. Okay, hold up. I'll be right back. At this point, you grab the pile and throw it aggressively at the chimichanga, and you can show them that in fact there are no longer 5 cards but 4 cards, and their card is not included in it. Grab the chimichanga and open it from the side that you have previously already ripped. You can then reach inside all the way as deeply as you possibly can and show them that there's a card inside of the packaging. And then, of course, that is the card that they picked. I know what you're thinking, can I only do the trick of a chimichanga? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can only do the trick of a chimichanga. There's no other way to fucking do it. However, if you do want to, you can do it for burrito, Sometimes if some Skittles are available, you could use those. Maybe some Spam if you have that. But I like to go for things that I could carry around. I don't like to carry Spam around me all the time. Plus, people don't like the smell when I open it. If you want to make the trick slightly more impressive, you could always put the card inside of the actual burrito. To do this, obviously, you take the burrito out of the wrapper. This one is frozen, harder than a black man's cock, but there are ways around that. I actually need I need a plate. I'll be back. Okay, so you put the burrito on the plate, and with a knife, what you're going to do is you're going to make an incision on the right side of the burrito as deeply as you possibly can go. Make sure that it's about the same size as the playing card. You can test this by getting the playing card and sticking it inside the burrito, seeing if it fits. So you might need to cut deeper depending on the width of your burrito, as well as the width of the playing card, so go in as far as you can. Just make sure to cut that right out. Make sure you use the Ed Marlowe technique for cutting the hole. Then put the playing card in there as deep as it can possibly go. Don't worry if it's giving you a little resistance, just shove it all in there. If the card doesn't fit lengthwise, you could just use the diverting folding technique to fold the card in half and shove it in the burrito. It doesn't matter if it sticks out on the sides a little bit, you'll be able to smush it together using the Edward Marlowe technique for the smush on the burrito there. And once you finish this, you should have a card perfectly put inside of the burrito. Of course, this goes back in the wrapper with the whole side in, making sure not to rip the wrapper more than you need. So this goes in the wrapper all the way, then the side with the hole gets folded. And you're going to need some sort of tape or adhesive to hold this side together, because this burrito is going to pass as your lunch. Remember, we're going for organic here. You're going to use things that you can use around you, things that you normally eat. So in my case, a burrito is something that I have on me daily. So you want to use as much adhesive to wrap it together, make it look natural, make it look organic, make it look like something you carry around. So the burrito goes in your pocket, goes on the table, goes somewhere that it's out in the open. So we're going to get to the point of the trick where you have the 4 cards that they think are 5 cards. Then you're going to aggressively throw it at the burrito, show them that their card is the only card that disappeared, because of course it went inside of the burrito. So at this point you can open up the tape, and it's very fair to them because there's tape, so there's no way the card could have gotten it inside of the burrito without them seeing it. You can also take this opportunity to talk about the magical properties of burritos, and then once you open up the burrito, make sure to cover the hole with your right hand, and you're going to do a move developed by Edward Victor known as the burrito paddle flip maneuver. So for this move, you're going to hold the burrito in the right hand with the closed side facing them, and you're going to flip the burrito into your left hand and show them the same side covering the hole. So you're going to hold the burrito in your right hand, you're going to flip this, revolving it towards yourself, grab it with your left hand, and point at that bottom side. This move is to convincingly show them that there's no slits in the burrito. Where a card could possibly go. So you do this move once, maybe twice. I wouldn't push it and do it 3 times because it's a little bit of a discrepant move. But afterwards, you could rip the burrito in half. You could show them that there's some chicken in there. Maybe there's some cheese, some corn. And then you can show them the empty half, maybe offer to them. You want to share with the spectators. And then you show them that there is in fact a card inside the other half. And it happens to be the card that they selected. Thus concluding this amazing, organic, spiritual trick.
I see you again, when 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 I see you again.